How about now? Okay, now I bet you can hear me. I better turn Mom's on and then put hers on her table too so that you guys can... Oh, I might need batteries for hers. Hold on, just a second. Okay, sorry about the sound. Okay, so we're going to start over here. I'm going to set up Mom's microphone here too. So we're coming on a little bit early today, and yeah. So we got people coming in and out. We got the dog. He may or may not stay with us. We may have to kick him out if he's annoying, because sometimes he is. He's sure cute though. But anyway, I wanted to jump on early for a couple reasons. First is to apologize. So some of you might have seen on our Facebook page this morning, we went out and we put some posts just to let everybody know that we were doing this, and a company called Live Virtual whatever, it's not us, came out and posted a whole bunch of links, and it takes people to a paywall, and a couple people clicked on it and might have decided to try and sign up for something. You do not have to pay for this class. You do not have to click on a link. I'm trying to clean it up. I'm so sorry that they came out. I posted those, then I came in and started working on the video, and it's just so frustrating. All of the spammers and the people who try and like mess up our day, I'm over it all. And I bet all of you are too. Like, it does not matter what you do online right now. It's like somebody is always out there trying to make things difficult. So I'm sorry that those posts were there. If any of you clicked on those links, it was not from us. You do not have to pay for this workshop. All of our workshops you never have to pay for. Well, I shouldn't say that. You never have to, but the ones that, like most of these ones that we're offering, if we're going to live stream it on Facebook and YouTube, they're not something that you need to pay for. You just need to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. So click subscribe and you'll get a notification saying that you can tune in. And then the other thing is, if you go to our Facebook page, just Quiltworx.com, then you can click on you can just tune into us and we just come on for you. There's no clicks. So anyway, I was trying to go through and clean up all these links and I saw them. They posted them everywhere. So I don't know how long it's going to take me. I tried to go in and just block them from our account, but it wasn't giving me all the details to do that. So, I mean, on a couple of these posts, they posted like so many. So anyway, if you see those, we're going to try and clean them up. I might be able to have Elise look into that as well. I don't even know if she's tuned in quite yet. But anyway, I'm super sorry for any of you that clicked on that those links, because I bet those were super confusing. So anyway, I got lots of people saying hello from Australia, from Germany, from all over. And we have the dog, and he may cause a few issues here as we get started just for a bit. And then we're going to kick him out completely if he's too much of a pain. But we can say hi. Do you want to say hi, Matt? Come here. Jump up here. There, say hi. Oh yeah, see, he's got a toy. So we'll see. Last time he just laid down on the floor next to us and went to sleep. And this time I hope he does something this similar. So
last time we didn't bring toys.
Yeah, Mom says last time we didn't bring toys. Did you find your microphone? Okay.
I did.
All right. So let's see. Queen Creek, Arizona. Hi, Teresa. Bunny. Hello, Bunny. Hello, Chris. Hi, Marianne from the Netherlands.
Madam.
Yes, I agree with you. There is always lunatics out there that are just trying to make our life more difficult. Anyway, again, I'm sorry. Hello from Brewster, New York. Hi, Madeline. I love the name Brewster. So when we were kids, Brewster was one of our dogs. We had a dog named Punky and a dog named Brewster. So I'm going to take my glasses off because you can see the reflection of my light in them. It's really bad. Hello from Michigan, Coeur d'Alene, Arizona. Let's see, Jackie, Linda, Misty, Mona. Hi, Mona. How are you? How is everybody? All right, let's see. How much time do we have left? Okay, we have 7 minutes. So let's see. We want to show you a few quilts. So hopefully we can, I'm going to switch the screens here. Yeah, the dog is going to probably drive me crazy. So I'm going to switch. Let's see where we're at. Transition. Okay. And I'm going to get up here and Mom and I are going to show you before class some quilts from one of our new collections. So someone said, is there a way to go back and see the pre-class? Yes. If you go to our YouTube channel and click on playlists and then find Pocket Full of Posies, you're going to find all sorts of great stuff there, including the pre-class instructions. All of the videos for this, and at 6 p.m. tonight, we're going to upload some applique videos. I'll talk about that here in just a second, but let's grab this stack of quilts. So
I'll just show this. You want to do it on the floor?
Yeah, we got to show them right here. So we're going to have to just hold them up as best we can. Okay, so this is going to maybe be a little challenging because I don't know if we can show you all of the whole quilts, but we'll do our best. So this is called Evergreen Fern, and it's one of our new patterns. It's only 40 inches, and it's done out of one of our new fabric collections called Sage. So Sage came out in September, and we've been publishing a few projects with it, and we're so excited because they're all done. So this one is Evergreen Fern. Judy quilted that. And I don't have any kits listed for that one on the Quiltster Marketplace yet, but we have fabrics in again to do more of the kits, so we should be getting some more of those listed. This one here is called Autumn Splendor. So again, we're gonna try and make it so that you guys can see the quilts. You can't see the whole thing, but
you're taller than me.
We'll just move them around. Autumn Splendor is, so with every collection that we release, we do what's called a Collectors Club design, and it's a limited release. And it's based around, different things, but this one is a remake of a pattern.
Your hand slower.
Oh, there we go. There we go. This one is a remake of a pattern that we had done, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
We ran out of it 10 years ago, I'd say. So anyway, Autumn Splendor, we had some papers left. We only had so many, so we were able to, actually we pulled some things from a few different patterns to get here, but we were able to republish it. So we did this out of the Sage collection as well. It's a limited release, and it's actually a perfect size so that you can add borders and make it larger. The pattern talks about all of that if you guys want to do a bigger pattern. And then we're going to show you this one. Now these two get a little bit bigger. So this one here is called White Swan Salvia. And again, you can see about half of it. So the bottom half looks the same as the top half. So White Swan Salvia is also out of the Sage collection, and it's one of our newest designs. It's 80 inches, 80 inches by 80 inches. It can be turned on point and made into a king size quilt. And then the next one we're going to show you.
It can also be made into a queen.
If you take the border off, then you can you can turn it on point and then put some of our 68-inch borders on it as well. And then we're going to show you Dragon's Tail. So this quilt was actually made by one of our certified instructors.
Here, let's go behind here.
Elsa Neubauer. I might have to. So Elsa is a certified instructor, and she taught at one of our events in, oh yeah, that's better. So she taught at an event in that we held at Madeline Island.
Go
at
down.
Quiltworx
I'm not
University.
as tall as you.
And she made this for that event, and she taught these blocks at that event. And then we published the pattern here about a month ago. So this is called Dragon's Tail, and it also finishes to 80 inches. You could turn it into a king if you turn it on point. So those are our 4 collections out of the Sage fabrics. I don't know what time it is, but maybe we can just throw these up here real quick so everyone can actually see the fabrics. So we're going to show you guys the fabrics themselves. In case you want to put it in something else, you can see what they look like. All right, I'm gonna, let's see here. So Judy's got all the fabrics here. If I switch to the overhead view on the cameras, you should get a pretty nice view of each of the fabrics. So it's a mini collection for Quiltworx, and that means that we choose 8 fabrics in one colorway, and those range from light to dark. They often show up in one of our strip sets, and then we publish it as a mini collection. We have another collection of basics called Wallflowers, and then also one of, and then we use Tonga Java blenders to mix and match with these as well. And that's how we create a lot of our quilts. So it's a nice sagey green, teal, bluish colored collection that covers all of the, it goes from light to dark. So let's see, we got Jane on from Peachland, BC. I've told her every time I see her name that I love the name Peachland. It sounds like one of the coolest places to live. So Fox Creek, Alberta. We got Michigan, Grand Prairie, Alberta, Melbourne, Australia, BC, Canada, Dawson's Creek, Mormon Lake, Arizona, South Byron, Wisconsin. All right, well, hold on, I'm gonna switch views again. I'm gonna switch cameras. Okay, it's right at 1 o'clock, so it's time for us to start class. And Holt, Florida, I believe you kidded me something with a couple of those at Madeline Island. Elizabeth Brim, that is very true. We probably did because we had just gotten the collection in. So anyway, welcome everybody. We're going to, you're actually on the camera, Mom, so you might
I see that.
wave or whatever else. So I'm just going to switch over to Judy, and we're going to pick up where we left off with the pre-class instructions and go through our first day of
cutting
and our, I don't know, you'll have to explain. I don't remember what we're covering in this class, so she's going to go over that. Actually, before she does that, I want to say one more thing. So one of the things that you'll see in your booklet is that we're supposed to cover applique options. So tonight at 6 p.m. after this video is over, we will load 2 videos onto our YouTube channel that are with Vanessa Fromm, and she goes over in detail how to do the center blocks and the border pieces for all of the digitized embroidery. We hope that by giving you the chance to watch that up front, that you'll be able to decide if you want to do digitized embroidery or if you want to do the traditional turn under applique technique that Judy's going to teach as well. And we'll talk through some of that. I don't know exactly where we fall into that, but later on today. But I just wanted you to know that 2 of those videos go up at 6 p.m. So, okay. I'm switching back to you, Mom. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm here today, and hopefully the day is going to go really smooth for us. I spent a lot of time reviewing everything, and I did quite a bit of pre-preparations on our class today because there's no way we would have been able to get through all of it in one class. So there's going to be some things that I'm just going to talk you through. All right. So it says that we're going to go through some further instruction booklet overview. We pretty much covered that in our last class, so we're just going to skip through there. I am going to explain that in the very first class, we did go through how to cut out all of the templates, and I believe I left the part for how we sort the templates into bags to do a basic demo on. So I'm going to actually go through the sorting of the queen size templates because we have some things we want to go through that with you up front. So the very first part of what we do today is how to sort the templates and get them into the bags that they're supposed to go through. All right. After we do that, then we're going to go through, I'm going to start back with the B group, and we're going to go through the B and C groups, and I'm going to show you how to pair all the templates up with the fabrics. And we're going to leave the queen undone because we'll get over that. We'll do that at another time. After we get all of the templates paired up, I'm going to go through the cutting process on a couple of the patterns because I really need to work you through some of the C group. And so that's kind of what our day's gonna be. I mean, I'm gonna do one video, or we're gonna do a little demo on the machine on how to do our T templates. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna start talking about applique and how we go through the applique, a little bit about organization for applique, how to prepare your fabrics, okay? So I'm gonna start right now, and just to do a review on the quilt, let's talk about what units we have. So this is our B group right here. Okay, those are B units is what they are. And then these are the C units. Now, these aren't, the fabric names for these units are called C fabrics, but when you get into the actual unit name, you're going to have D units, and the D unit is a rectangle piece, and then there's an E unit, and the E unit actually makes into a square block, okay? And we have to cut the D and the E groups out together for this pattern because there's no way to split up the fabrics properly without doing them together. Okay, so when we get into working with the C fabrics, and I know that sounds confusing, we're going to be working with the D and E foundation units. Okay, so bear with me, it's all in your instructions, and as we work through it, you'll understand what we're doing. Okay. So the first thing we're going to start with is we're going to go over and do a really quick review on bagging the foundation papers. And I'm going to use the queen group. So I went through and did all of it, got all of my papers cut out, and I have all of the template pieces cut out. And note that I have the papers in one pile, and I have all the template layout sheets in another pile. As we go through this, we're going to mention some corrections. Now, those corrections are being posted today, and I'm not going to talk much more about the corrections until we get to it, and then at that time I'll tell you I'm sorry. So anyway, so we have our bags. We did the bags numbers up already. And these are all my foundation units. So what I'm going to do is I have them all in order. So from number 1 up to, I think, unit 9 might be the last one. No, there's a unit 10 too. Okay. So it tells me that in bag D1, I want to put 16 of the unit D9 pieces. Okay. So that's this piece right here. All right, there's 16 of them in your pattern, and we're just going to place them into this bag at this point. And then we're just going to close the bag part way. Then for bag D2, it tells me I want my D10 papers. And again, we're just going to slip these into the bag. Close it halfway. For bag D3, it says I want unit D5 and D6. And let's see where D5 and D6 are. And these are my basket ones, so we're going to slip these into the bag. And then bag D4 says I want units D1 through D4. So there's D1, D2, this one is D3, and this one is D4. And it does tell you when you're reading your instructions how many papers you're supposed to have of each of them. So I'm going to avoid as many numbers as I can today on this. Bag D5, that one is for my tea templates. And D4, I missed these two. It also calls for D7 and D8 go in bag D4. So we're going to go back and slip these in here as well. Okay. And then my bag D5, it's calling for some tea templates, all right? And I believe in my template pile, I have a group of tea templates. I have a D6, and we have tea templates. We have D4s, we have a D3, we have a D5, and it tells me I need D3 to a D9. So this is my 6. The one underneath it is a 7, an 8, and a 9. Okay, I like to keep the tea templates separate because they're cut a little bit different than all the rest of the templates. But at some point we're going to pull these back out because they're still basically what I call a template bag. All right, so we're going to set that over here. And then the rest of the templates are right here. Okay, and what I like to do is go through my templates, and I want to figure out what numbers they are. And this one is template layout sheet number 1. This one is number 2. And I put them in order because in my instructions, most of the time your instructions are all set up in order, so then you're not digging through all your templates to find them. And then it says we have a template layout sheet number 3. We actually have 4 template layout sheets number 3, so they're going to go right there. And then we should have a template layout sheet number 4, which we do, which is there. And then this one is a number 5. This one is an 8. This one's a 9. And I'll bet you these are 5s. Nope, that's a 12. And, oh, I know where 5s are. I'll bet you it's right here. Okay, so I'm just going to mention right now, so template D5 and D6, there's a correction that's been posted out there. And this correction is going to follow through your pattern. And so just keep flipping on your pages and going through the corrections and just remark it in your pattern. Basically what we did is we forgot to mirror image the templates for the basket group. And so it kind of affected every place where I wrote instructions. My D6 papers are actually for D5 unit. My D5 units are actually for D6. Now, if you've already cut things out and done everything, it's not going to make it any difference, because when you get ready to do your paper piecing, you're just going to take this pile and put it with this one, and this pile and put it with the other one, and flip them. And everything's going to come out just fine for you, okay? But I do want you to realize that those have a correction on them, and we're getting those corrections out today. So I now have my D, this is my 5, and this is my D6 right here. Or those are 5 and 6 template layout sheets. And then we're going to go back here, and we're going to, the other thing that you have in your pattern that's a little bit different is we have an alternative version for the basket. So here again, this is probably the reason why we got the baskets flipped, is because the original pattern that Judelle wanted me to do was supposed to have the baskets as just cut out of one fabric. And then about a part way through, I decided, no, I'm not going to do it that way. And I went in there and I added these little lines into the fabric pieces. And so I created that on my own. And when we were getting ready to publish, we realized, oh, we didn't write the instructions for the basket. And so I went back and we hurried up and got the instructions set up to where you could piece it. And in the process, I flipped, we forgot to flip the papers. So.
Also, why don't you give me just a second here, Mom? I'll
okay.
show where those corrections
She's going to show
are.
you where those corrections
so
are.
If we go to our website, and because a couple people are also asking where to find the pattern, so this will help you with that too. So go to products and patterns, and then if you scroll down a little bit here, you'll see Pocket Full of Posies is right on the first page. Oh, I just got a note from someone saying my mic's not on. Okay, now it's on. Okay. I am going to tell you again. So on our website, I'm going to tell you where to find the instruction or the corrections. So go to Quiltworx.com, then go to products and patterns, and then you can scroll down on that page to find Pocket Full of Posies. Click on the pattern, and then you'll see corrections posted on the right hand side here. Now, I have a whole list of them that Janie has a responsibility to get posted today. Doesn't look like she's got them up quite yet, but by the end of this video, this corrections list will have additional information in it for you guys to see. And then also, just so you know, this is where you can buy the patterns. You can click buy now and purchase the pattern. You can also see a couple different colorways here. And then if you're looking for a digitized embroidery design, you can find that here. You can find replacement papers here. And you can also click on this marketplace button. And this takes you to the Quiltster marketplace, where you can find kits not only by Quiltworx, but also by many of the other shops and sellers on the Quiltster platform. So you can see Granny Sassy has some kits. So many things. So anyway, I would check in with any of them to see if you want to get some additional or buy a kit if that's what you're looking for, and that should explain to you where to find corrections and how to buy the patterns. So let's see, let's switch back to Judy. Okay, go ahead, Mom.
Okay, so I'm just going to put those alternative basket templates if you want the whole piece in there, because sometimes we'll use a piece of fabric that has woven, you know, like lines and different things in it, and so they look really good if you just use the whole piece, or big flower baskets and things like that. So I'm going to put these right here with the original piece templates as well. All right, and then we're going to go to, we're at number 8, and then we have template layout sheet number 9, which is right here, and you should have a couple of the template layout sheets for number 9, and then you have a number 10, and then you have number 11. Now, I do want to explain, sometimes you end up with extra template layout sheets, and here's number 12, which is the last, and that you don't really need. And the reason why is because as we're pulling all of this together and trying to get everything to fit on newsprints, sometimes we have to put a template layout sheet onto a newsprint that's going to print more, that we need more than one print, because it might have other things on there where we need. So if you have extra templates like that, look to see if you need them, and if you don't need them, you can just get rid of them. All right. The other template we have in here is, this is actually just a paper piecing template, and it's not a T template, it's not a template layout sheet, it's just a piece of paper that you're going to use for cutting some strips. All right, and whenever I have just a regular T template, or not a T template, but just a normal paper piecing template, I usually just put it on in the stack, because at some point it'll tell us where we have to use that. Okay, I have all of this put together, and I'm going to actually put this in my template bag now. So when I'm ready to start cutting, everything's in order for me, and I know now that I have all the templates that I need to have. And all I have to do is just get all of this stuff back in order. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we're going to put it back into with the Queen booklet. All right. And we're not going to worry about it until we're ready to start cutting the fabrics for it. We did all of the cutting for the fabrics in the last class, so I'm just going to put all of this back into a container over here and put it away until the next class. All right, so now we're going to get started on sorting. And I have all of my stuff here. This is all for this is all for one group. These are my C fabrics, so we're going to set those over there. And these look like these are the B fabrics. Okay, I have all the templates already and newsprint already sorted out, and I'm just going to go pull out the fabrics for us. And you should have, if you cut out your fabrics, you should have all of your fabric numbers sitting here. And we have fabric B3 on the bottom. We have a B3C. That's a B3-2. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to read these a little bit better, so that you understand the numbers. So the very first fabric is B1, right? The next piece of fabric underneath there is a B3 fabric. And it says B3 1A, and then underneath it is B3 1B, okay? So what we're looking at there are two fabrics printed fabrics that we have an A color and a B color. So when you look at the quilt, one of them is an A group color and one of them is a B group color because of the two colorways. Then when you do the next one, this is a B3 2A and a B3 2B, which again, there's two different colors there that are being used for that template, which gives us two colors that we're using for these spikes. And then we have a B2C fabric, and we only have one. Oh, actually, that's because that's a template one too. So there's actually three colors in the template, and we repeated one of the colorways. And then we have a B3 fabric, and the B3 fabric is for my vein. Okay, so we're just going to stack them all back up on top of each other here. And we're going to go to the instructions, and we're going to turn to page 1 of your booklet number 2. All right. And I want you to see that I added all of my fabric samples in my actual instructions. I'm going to tell you that in a lot of the patterns I do, I just read through it, stack them, move forward, and don't do a lot of this. In this pattern, you better do this because you're going to be flipping back and forth between colors and A's and B's and how they're stacked all the way through the instructions. So it's best if you know what your colors are supposed to be here. So I want you to take your samples and cut samples off and put them on that first page. And when I cut little swatches, if you've cut a fabric kit, you have the yardage that you need. Don't cut the swatch off of the top of it. Cut your swatch right down the selvage. So if you look at these pieces, I cut the swatch down the selvage because I'm going to cut the selvage off. If I was to cut the swatch off the top of it, I probably wouldn't have enough fabric if I had to lay a template layout sheet onto it. So whenever you're cutting swatches, make sure you're going down the selvage of the fabric. All right? Also, on the table, I see a small correction. Will you mark it, Mom? It says fabric B3-3 at the bottom for vein, and then the fabric swatch says fabric swatch B1. That should say fabric swatch B3-3. Bottom of the table. Oh, underneath the fabric. Yeah, you've probably covered yours up. I need to just make a reminder to fix that. Yeah, I covered it already. So that's supposed to be B3-3. Yeah. Yeah. Where it says the very bottom corner on the right where it says fabric B1, fabric swatch B1, change that to B3-3. It should match what's in the So it's correct on the first column, but in the second column, I forgot to change it. Yeah. So we'll fix that. All right. So we're going to turn the page. Now the fun starts. Oh, before I go any further, let's go over something else. So when I was cutting my fabric swatches, because this pattern requires 2 different color groups, I actually took my units and I went all the way through my instructions and figured out which fabrics are actually going to be sewn onto these 2 different color groups. So this is my color group A. I put a swatch of the printed fabric on there, and then I put swatches where the spikes go, and here's a swatch for the vein. So now, when I pull those papers out, I know where my fabrics are going to go. And it starts making a lot more sense if you put these swatches on your newsprint, because now you can actually see how it's going to start going together. So this one is the background fabric. These are my spikes, and this is the vein. So the other thing I did is I also put my swatches. I went read through the whole thing, and those are additional ones. And I went through and I put swatches on these templates as well. Each one of these has a different swatch on it. And there again, as I'm going, it just gives me a chance to read through it, check everything out, make sure it's making sense, make sure my papers are matching up with my newsprint, and then I can go through and do all my cutting and I don't get all worried about it. So we're going to put these back in order. This is 2, 3, this is 1, and it goes like that. Okay, so I have my newsprint, or my templates all stacked up, and we're going to start in our instructions now. So I have to read my instructions as I go so that I make sure that I'm putting the right colors and the right templates and that I'm doing it right, because sometimes my brain jumps ahead of me and I start cutting things from the wrong fabric thinking, oh, well, this is next. And so we want to follow through the instructions. So the very first thing it tells me is I want my fabric B1. And so it tells me all of our graphics are set up to where you open up the strip like this at 42 inches wide. Now, I like to look at my picture and see where the templates are setting on that graphic. And it's going to tell me whether I'm going to have any leftover fabric after I get cutting. This one I'm going to have a lot. And so basically, I'm not going to worry too much about it. And I'm going to take and put the first template right here. I'm going to put my fabric number back onto it. And I'm just going to clip the template to it. I'm not going to cut it quite yet. Okay, so then we're going to go to fabric B3, 1A and B. And that's my template layout sheet right here. And so this is B3, 1A, and this is B3, 1B, okay? And it's calling for both fabrics, and if I look, I have a swatch on each one of these, and see, I put the wrong swatch on this one. That's why you want to double check, because this one is a BA1 and this is a BA2, so we're going to put another little swatch on that one. And I do have one right here, if I can find it. Actually, I'll just cut a new swatch on it. We'll put this right here. And we're going to take those templates and just clip them to both fabrics. That means I'm going to be using these templates to cut all of this fabric. And it's all the same. So I don't need that template right there. The next piece that I need, it says fabric B3-2A, B, and C. So I have these three right here. This is my A, my B, and my C. It tells me I need template layout sheet number 2. And I have my template layout sheet number 2, and I actually have 3 of them so that I can put one with each fabric. And I'm going to pull the staples out. I'm going to put the first one with this. I'm going to take the second piece, this one. I'm going to take the third piece with this. All right, and now we're going to come over and we're going to go to fabric B3-3, and that's this piece. And then the template is B3-5, which are these. And so we're going to clip these on. All right, so we can see from my instructions that the only place that I need to correct something is on that template right there. I need this fabric on there instead. But I have no templates left, I have no fabric left, and everything's matching up for my book except for the one piece. And that's one of the reasons why I like to go through this figure out what's my goes on the templates, then go back through, match everything up again, because it's a double check. So basically I've gone through this 3 times. I know what I need to do now, and we're just going to move forward with it. Okay, so it tells me I need to cut 4 of these. These pieces, since these are actually just a square, I really don't have a right and a wrong side. So I can just cut my squares. And just to show you where these are going, these are actually the little squares right here in my pattern. So I'm just going to take my template, and I don't need that template. I'm just going to lay it on there. It doesn't have to be, yes, it does have to be a perfect match. This is not paper pieced. So this one, we're going to grab some glue. Take a piece of this repositional glue, and I'm going to just put a little bit on the back. And we're going to cut. And I'm just going to do a larger cut right now. And then we're going to cut it again, and that gives me 4 pieces. Okay, so this is leftover fabric, and we'll put that. Now I'm going to take these pieces here, and I'm going to set them so they're all right side up. And I'm just going to take my T template here. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Whenever I'm working with a T template, what I try to do is cut it just a little bit larger, the fabric, and then come back and do a perfect trim on them. Because T template stands for traditional template. So anytime you see the letter T in front of a template, it means it's a traditional template. That's just the rules and the language for our instructions. And that specific little set of instructions is actually explained in your very first booklet that has just general information in it. So now I have this all cut, and this one cut. And it actually tells me to put this back in bag B3 with my templates. And I'm going to ignore that because I don't need any more of those templates, and I'm going to change my mind, and I'm going to slip it in my A bag right now. That way I only have to work with 2 bags. All right, so then the next one, I have to have these fabrics. And I also take all of my fabric scraps and I put them in with the template, because that way if there's a mistake made, I don't have to search through everything to find the fabrics. We're going to get rid of the pins, and then we're going to take this and as I read through the instructions, it's telling me I have to cut 4 6 1/4 inch by 42 inch strips from each fabric, B3-1A and B3-1B. Okay, and we didn't pre-cut these the other day. I don't know why. I think we just missed them. So we're going to go ahead and set this up, but first I'm going to cut my little swatch and glue it onto this page right here. Right. And then we're going to put this one underneath it, or we can actually do this on top right now.
So, Mom, the reason those aren't pre-cut is because we did that whole center as a full block in Quiltster.
Yeah.
So the Quiltster
didn't tell us to.
That maybe didn't tell us to, but
okay.
So you might, if you guys
I'll
are going
explain
through
that.
your pattern, then you might want to look at those and see if there's some additional cutting that's needed for some of those pieces.
Yeah, and it doesn't tell them that in there. I might have to add that. Basically, in Quiltster, when we have to group things together, then to make sure you don't like mess up the way the fabrics are colored. Right. So on this particular pattern, you can only do 2 color groups the way it's set up for the cutting. So we had to group the 3 pieces together and just give you 1 large cut. And then you'll have to come back in and finish cutting that at the time that you're going to use it. So these are 6 1/4 inches. So I'm going to grab my big ruler. And this is actually a 6 1/2 inch ruler. So we're just going to take this and we're going to, we have plenty, so I'm just going to cut it at 6 1/2 just to make my life easier. You don't just want to assume that without doing the math on the strips that we've given you, because sometimes the math works out right at the edge of the fabric, but this has a little bit of extra yardage. Okay, so now we're going to take this, and the next thing it's going to tell me is how to stack them. And it wants my B fabrics in one stack and my A fabrics in the other stack. So we're going to put the B's in a stack. And then we're going to put the A in a stack. Now, if you guys are working with directional fabric on anything, make sure that you're getting your fabric stacked to match the directions, that everything's cut. Okay, so this is my A fabric and my B fabrics. And then it tells me that I have to cut so I have to have 20 pieces from my A fabric, and I have to have 16 pieces from the B fabric. So this is my B fabric. So I'm going to put this layout sheet on here, and this one's going to go on to here. And we're going to put a little bit of repositionable glue on the back. Don't put a lot. And I also wrote on my instructions when I went through the first time how many pieces that I had to cut for each template. And this one says I need 20. And if I look at my strips, it uses almost the full width of the strip, so I'm going to tighten this up just a little bit over here. Get that over as far as I can. Okay. And then we're just going to flip the whole thing over like this. So this will give me 6 pieces. And if you have a fold and you need to get rid of that fold as you're doing your you can take this and starch pen and rub that fold and get that wet, and it'll get rid of the fold in there. But I think my glue, I think it's empty. No, it's not.
Okay, someone said, did Judy stack 3 or 4 pieces? Each one of those stacks has 4 pieces, right, Mom?
Yeah.
4.
I only stacked 3.
Oh, I think you need to, because you're supposed to cut 4 6 1/4 strips from each of the fabrics, and I think.
Yeah, that's why I had the leftover fabric, because I only did 3. So we'll just take my leftover fabric.
Good catch there, Judith Schaefer.
Well, yeah.
You are right.
And now it's
you did
not
do it quite the right way.
Yeah. And now this one's a little bit small, but it'll work.
So she should have cut it right at 6 1/4 inches.
See?
And then the other thing is, if anyone's wondering about that starch pen, we have them on our website under Notions. They're from a company called Acorn, and yours is out.
Huh?
You don't have any in it?
No, it started coming out.
Anyway, if you don't have one of those and you want to get one, they are actually pretty cool. It's not required, but it's a fun, it just makes life really easy when you're trying to flatten out your fabric. So I think we did talk about it in the pre-class instructions as well. So anyway, if you guys haven't seen it, you can go back and check that out and figure out more about where to get those. So
okay, so I'm just cutting this one separately because it's just a hair bit smaller than the rest, but it's plenty big for what I need. So all right, and so we have 6.
The way she knows that is because if you look at that template, there's excess space. So the dash, maybe you should explain that. Show them on the template.
I will when I get done. So that's 9. This gives me 12.
Because this will help you all. That little tip will help you all if you all make
12.
A minor cutting mistake.
And this one gives me 15.
Should give you 20. Oh, because you only cut 3.
So there's 3. There's 15. This is 4. And this gives me 20. Okay, so the reason I know these will fit is because this is my template piece, and we always give you guys extra on, you know, for cutting, and it makes it easier to put them onto your foundation papers when you actually do in your templates. And so when I get ready to cut these, all I really have to do is just take this and I can set that template up, and then I can move the next one, and I can fudge that really easy for me, and they'll all fit. It's one of the nice things about template layout sheets is you're always going to have that excess room on those. So if you do make a little bit of a cutting mistake like I just did, then it allows you to go in there and it gives you some room to play with, all right? So, so on this one I need to have 16, and I have one, because I can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that gives me 15, so I'll just cut one piece off of that other one. So I'm going to put, just so that I know that I made a mistake there, I'm going to put an extra piece on there, and then we're going to take these, and I put a binder clip on them like this, and I'm going to put them into this bag. Like that. And I'm going to put my scraps in there as well. Okay. Now we're going to take this piece here. Boy, I need you guys to watch me all the time. That's what happens when you get to the point where you know what you're doing. You have a tendency, the better you get at this, as far as understanding it, the more mistakes you make, because you overthink what you're doing. Those of you who have taken classes from me, you totally get it, because they watch me do this all the time. So we're setting at 9. This gives us 12. This one gives me 15. And then this one's going to give me 12. And there we go. We'll just take all this, put this back in the bag as our scraps. And I'm going to slip this piece on the top. So notice that I'm not doing the additional cutting on these. I like to just get them all cut to the layout sheets, and then I finish up the final cutting right before when I pull them out of the bag to get ready to start paper pieces. Because then I don't have to worry about things getting messed up, and I don't have 50 just individual templates in here. It just keeps the whole bag a lot cleaner for me.
So we had a question, why does Judy put the scraps in the bag?
Because that way if I make a mistake, I already have the leftover strips and everything, and it's easy to just take that fabric and replace a piece really quick. And I don't have to go back to my normal, my whole stash, because a lot of times people will come to classes and they'll leave all their scraps at home and only bring the pieces, and then they make a mistake, a cutting mistake, or they sew it wrong, and now they don't have the pieces that they need. So I like to just throw the scraps for everything that I have when I'm setting my bags up, right, with the template pieces and you already know that it's really easy to make a mistake when you don't follow your own directions. So, all right. So the next thing it tells me, we're going to go down here to B3 to A, B, and C. So it says cut 4 2.5 inch by 42 inch strips from each one of these pieces. And these aren't cut either. I know why, because we decided to leave the strips for this one to do here. So we're gonna just cut 2, and I'm gonna stack them and cut them all at once. And then we're gonna take this. And then we're gonna take this one. Because these were all grouped together too because of the instructions. Because all of the papers say a 10-inch strip. So now this time we're going to follow the instructions, and it says to cut it 2.5 inches. And so I'm going to cut it 2.5 inches.
You're following your instructions?
Uh-huh. So there's my first cut at 2.5 inches. And then here's the next cut at 2.5 inches. And I'm supposed to be able to get 4 of these out of this. And this one says 2.5 inches, and it comes down at 2.5 inches. So now we're going to sort these into 3 piles. All right, so we have template layout sheet. Oh, I do want to show you something else that I did. As I was going through with all of my instructions, I actually put swatches on the fabrics so that when I look at them, I can see what fabrics go with each template. So the very first one, so basically I have to put one of these templates on each one.
I noticed something else in the instructions. This is good. I'm reading along with it. In step 2, it says to subcut 12. That should say 9 pieces. The graphic is correct, and so the graphic shows 9 pieces, and it should say 9. So then it should also say 9 in step 3, and probably 27 in step 4. So we did our math wrong.
No, it's 12.
There's only 9 blocks. Look.
But there's 4 strips.
Oh, wait.
So
Oh, you're right. So you're subcutting 12 pieces to the size of the template.
Yep.
Never mind then, guys.
So here's...
The numbers are right.
There's 4 pieces. Because you have to have...
8 and 12.
You need 36.
There's 4 units in each block, and there's 9 blocks. So you do need 36.
Yep.
So our math is right.
Three times 4 is 12. Okay. There's 3. Put a binder clip on this one. For those of you that may be new, you're going to notice that I'm not cutting very accurately with these because I really don't need to. That accuracy comes when we start the paper piecing. All I am really worried about is getting the shape, somewhat of the shape here. Okay, so on this one, because I'm looking at it, I need to do some sorting. So I'm going to have to go ahead and cut these pieces apart right now. So we have 12 layers of fabric here. So I'm going to put a paper clip on each group at this point. And then I'm just going to slice them apart. And then I'm going to stack these because these are my A group. And then we're going to do, this is the B group. So there's cut line 1, cut line 2, and it has a cut line 2 on this piece right here where you go like that. I'm not cutting that off because on this one, the sew side's on this side anyway, so that excess is just fine there. So this template right here is going to seem a little bit bigger than the rest of them. But I don't need to go in there and trim that down because my sew side's up here. So, but it won't make any difference when you're looking at it and you get started sorting. You go, oh, that template's the wrong size. Don't worry about it because it might be the wrong size, but it's bigger than what you need. All right, so I have my 3 piles here. This is my C group. Right, and it tells me that I need to sort these out. So I need to put 20 pieces in my first group, and that's my A group. Okay, so that's my color group A, which has to have an A, a B, and a C in it. Okay, so this is 12, and this is 12, and if I need 20, I only need to pull 4 off of that. And then we're going to put these underneath there. And I'm going to write that this is for my color group B. CGB. And this is CGA. So that gives me 20. And this pile now has 16 in it. So we're going to grab the B pieces, and I'm going to pull 4 pieces off of this one. 2, 4. And we're going to slip them underneath the other ones. And I'm going to write CGB. And I'm also going to put 16, 16, and then I'm also going to put that these are the B fabrics. That's my B, and this was an A fabric. Okay. And so we're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4. I put these are supposed to go under this pile because this is 12 plus 4 is 16. And these go here. And these are my B fabrics. I have that on there, and I'm going to go CGA. And I'm going to put 20. Okay. Are you guys following what I'm doing here? Now we have our C group. And so this is going to become my C fabric. This was my A fabric over here. This is B fabric. And this one, I'm going to pull 4 off. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to slip it underneath here. And then these go together. And this is my C color. So this is color group A, C, G, A, and there's 20 in it now. And this is C, G, B, and there's 16. B fabric, A fabric, and C fabric. Okay, So that's doing exactly what my instructions told me to do. Now it's going to tell me to put the 20 pieces in my A bag. And now we have no, actually we have one more piece we have to put in, so let's not close it. And then these pieces go in my B bag. And I'm just going to take all these scraps and put them into one of the bags for now. I'll put them in the A bag. And we can get rid of all of this stuff. All right, so these pieces are our veins that we're cutting here. And so I usually give you extra templates when we're doing veins because they're a little harder to cut out than just the straight templates. So this fabric is my B3-3 fabric.
Did you bring your new rulers?
Of course not. Yeah.
Do you want me to go get one?
No, it's not used on this piece. But I do have my curved rulers. Okay. So this tells me that I have to cut 3 9-inch pieces. So let's get our 3 pieces cut. Nine and 9 is 18. The dog's going out.
Hold on. I'll be back.
Judy will be back in a minute. All right, so I have my 3 pieces here, and if we look at the way they're positioned on there, basically what it's having me do is cut my 21-inch, 2 21-inch by 9-inch rectangles. So let's do that first. I'm going to cut the selvage off. So my rectangles might not be quite 21 inches because the selvage is pretty wide on these pieces, so we'll see where I come out. So this one gives me 21, and this one gives me, oh, plenty. Okay. So I'm just going to fold these in half and cut it because I had lots of excess on the length, on the width there. So, all right. So now we're going to take these, and we need to make sure that they're all facing right side up. And then it tells me to put the 6 templates on there. And I have them stapled together, of course. And it does tell me that these go against the right side of the fabric. So we're going to put the first one here. Put the second one here. And because I'm using the repositionable glue, if I don't get them on here to fit, I can readjust them. And we have plenty of fabric to do that. That one's a little tight there, so I'm going to adjust the first ones. And this one's going to go here. And then we're going to move this one just a little bit. I'm going to move this one. And then we're going to take this one. Okay, so I have my 6 templates on there. So one of the things that's important about these templates is that they be cut with the bias. And on occasion, we'll give you templates, and if you're doing something like a rainbow quilt or something, you might only have a strip of fabric. The reason why is because if you were doing a rainbow quilt, you would have to have 8 different fabrics under here, and then you would only get one template from each color. So sometimes we manipulate that. And if we have to set it up to where it is cut on us, the straight of the grain, then we can come in here and we can actually clip this, and it'll still go onto our pieces just fine. But most of the time we like to work with a wider piece and set the templates diagonally so that they're set, the curve, inside curve is setting on the bias, right? So once I get that done, I'm going to grab my curved templates. I have a couple of templates here that are curved, and I'm gonna, this one is actually called a leaf template, and it's very close. And so first of all, I'm gonna take these and I'm just gonna cut between them. Okay. And then I can take and I can use my and I can adjust the template by just rolling it. So I'm just going to start cutting, and then I can adjust it. And I'm cutting through all 4 layers. All right, then we're going to take this, turn it around, and cut this side. And this is one of those templates that have a gripper on the back. I'm going to flip it over so I can roll it, because if you leave the gripper against the paper, then it won't roll for you. Okay, all the way through there. I have to stop. But see how I'm rolling that template? And it looks like it just missed just a little bit right there. There's 4 pieces. This one moved a little. I should have put a paper clip on these. There's that template. because I'm working with one of these big rotary cutters, I can actually cut through all 4 layers on these curves. If you guys are working with different types of rotary cutters, you'll probably have to cut these out individually. So there's 4, so that's 12. How many am I supposed to have here? And so place 20 pieces in bag 1.
Judith said 6 layers.
2, 4, 6 layers, yep. I was thinking I had 4 layers. 6 and 6 is 12, and 6 is 20. No, I need 2 off of this one. Is that right?
No, you need 2 more.
Yeah. So I think I have 20 there.
So you need 12.
I have 6 and 6 here. Are we short? Six and 6 is 18, 19, 20. Is my math wrong? 6 times 6 is 36. No, my math isn't wrong. It's just my head. I'll wait and do my counting here in just a minute. All right. So this is 2, 4, 6. And this one is 2, 4, 6.
Mom, which ruler are you using?
I'm using the leaf ruler. And this really works great. And then we'll pull 2 off of here. And then that gives me 16. All right, and the 16 go in the bee bag.
So I have a bunch of questions about the ruler. So the ruler is the leaf ruler, and it was out of the coral reef pattern.
Correct.
So if you have coral reef, then you have the leaf ruler because it was included in there. And if you don't have the coral reef pattern, then you can order the leaf ruler. Oh, my mic isn't on again. Okay. Sorry, okay. So the questions on the ruler. So if you have the coral reef pattern, then you have the leaf ruler. If you have dinner plate dahlia, you have one called the curved diamond and cutting ruler, which she might use sometimes also. And if you don't have those patterns, then you can just buy the rulers themselves on the on our website under Notions. So Elise will give you some links. I don't know that she's used the curved diamond ruler yet, but she probably will. And then we also have one called the Judy's Mini Arc Ruler Set. And that one is a new one. We just came out with them. They got here about a week ago and we've started shipping them. And on this quilt, we went back and forth in the last video on whether or not it works, but it does actually work in the final trimming.
In the final trimming.
On the outside of the arc. And she'll show you that later. So.
All right. For those of you watching, whether you're students or whether you're teachers, whether you're women, whether you're guys, I don't care who you are, other than the fact that I want you to know I'm done with these. These are all ready for me to basically start doing some paper piecing. Now the cool thing about what we did here is I can close up this bag and I can come back a year later and pull this out, and everything that's in here, I know exactly where the pieces go because I put little swatches on my paper and I have all the template pieces and they all have the correct papers on them. All right, I have the right number, and so I can just basically put this into a bag and it is ready. All right, and these pieces are leftover papers and templates. And so if you go to page, I think it's the very last page, on page 19 of your instructions, you actually have enough of these to do like a pillow top, or I think that's what you have left over, a pillow top or a couple pillow tops out of it. But we didn't cut up all the templates, so you actually have extra templates in there, all right?
I don't know where I put that. What page is it
So
on?
I'm going to put this in with my stuff.
I thought it was on like the very last page. Oh yeah, right there.
All right, so we're going to move on to units D and E, okay? And I'm not going to do all of the cutting for these, but we're going to go through and do all the sorting, all right? You want me to hold on for a second?
Nope, I think you're good. I'm just trying to get to the right page. So, okay. All right.
Okay. So on page 4 of your instructions, we get started with the D and E groups. Your fabric colors are labeled as a C fabric because we had to put a different fabric number on it. Otherwise, we would have had to call it fabric DC or DE, and it's just like, it gets old after a while trying to remember all those different letters. So all of our fabrics are called C fabrics. Our units are D units and E units. And we actually do the cutting on both units at the same time, right? So when you look at your foundation papers, yes, there's a lot of papers here that you have to cut out. And I have all of the papers cut out. And I just kind of want to show you really quick on this one what we're aiming. So what I did is, because I have 2 color groups on these units, I actually put a little swatch on each bag because the templates in here and the templates in here are the same. And actually the templates that are here and here, even though it has a different printing on it, are the same as what's in some of the E units too. So it's really easy to get all of these templates mixed up. You have to read what your templates are. Don't just look at it as unit 6. You got to read D6 or E6 to make sure that you're getting them in the right bags, all right? With the 2 color groups, basically our end results, this is what we're going to end up with. We have my D6, 7, so this is for a D group. And then this piece goes here. This piece goes here. And this one is right here. So this is my A color group. So this one is orange. And then this piece falls right here. So I should have 2 orange pieces together here. This one, whoops, this one goes here. And this one goes here. This one here. I'm going to pull these apart a little bit more so you can see them better. All right. Can they get the camera on that?
Yeah, I can switch views a little bit more, but.
Can they see what I have?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these two should be the same color. So this is my orange, this is my floral print, and those are the same. These two are my orange print, and these are my floral print, okay? And this is the D group, and the D group is a rectangle block when it's assembled, all right? So this is actually what you're looking at on the quilt is this. Let's see if I can find that block. Goes like this, comes down here like this, and like this. So there's my block. So see how the colors are, you have a solid and a floral, solid and a floral. And that's basically what's going to happen, okay? So when I do my cutting, as I'm cutting things out, I'm going to look to make sure that that's happening with my pieces. And I also already went through and put all of the swatches onto the template layout sheets. This one is the same thing, except that these pieces are blue and green, and this one was my orange and green, is the way I set up the colors on this quilt. The other thing you have in this bag, well, we'll do that later. Let's go ahead and pull these templates out. So I have these little tiny templates like this, and those are actually for the these little tiny spikes right in here that go around in between, all right? These templates, this is where your color comes from. There's my orange pieces, and then underneath it is my blue. And then there's another template. So this is a floral that goes with the orange, and the other floral goes with the blue that's on the bottom. And then this is a floral, and this is an orange. So when I set these up, this is my template layout sheet number 8. This one's number 7. This one here is number 6. This one is number 5. And you should have 2 of each one of those, okay? Just like these, there's 2 of every one of these templates, and you have to have that many, okay? So don't just cut out one thinking I don't need the extra ones. You need to have everything that we gave you there. Then you're going to have a T template here, and you should have 2 copies of your T template. So you want to keep those together. And then here, these are my big backgrounds, and you should have 4 of these. And this is template layout sheet number 9. And so we're going to have, you should have 4 of those, because we're going to put 2 of these. It's just the way they lay together on the papers. We decided you guys needed, it was too hard to just flip things around. And so we set it up to where you had enough templates to work with, all right? So those are my templates, and I'm going to put them back in order here. And then we want 4, and this is 3. And what I'm looking at is the template layout sheet number, is how I have these stacked, all right? So I'm just going to set those.
I'm going to make a quick note too that on the TLS number 3 on TP 702 and 703, double check the cut size. It should be 2 1/4 inches on both of them, and I think one of them says 2 1/2.
Oh, okay.
So I've put a correction out for it. It'll be posted by this afternoon, but just so you guys know, while we're talking about it, one of them says.
Yeah. It's the 6, number 6 template says 2 1/2. All the others say 2 1/4.
Yeah, so switch that. So.
Right. So this template is, this is template bag D7. Oh, the dog decided to come in. All right, here's all my fabric. By the way, if you haven't figured it out, our dog knows how to open doors. So, these are my E group, and we're not going to go through the E group. I will have to put some fabrics into them as we go. So, I guess I will have to lay them out like that. And this template right here, this is actually the sashing, okay? And I put a swatch on it, but that template goes right here, all right? We're just gonna put the fabric with it. We're not gonna worry about cutting it out or anything right now. So I wanna try to avoid as much cutting as I can, but some of these we'll have to cut as we sort through them. So this is actually for fabric C1, and that actually goes in this bag. So we're just going to put C1 and put it in this bag right now. And then we're going to set this aside. Right here, I had put fabric swatches on all of my fabric chart, and I can tell you that when I was cutting all of these swatches and everything last night and preparing for class, if I had not had those, we would have been chaos today, because you have to have those to keep referencing back to. So make sure you put your swatches on there as you're working through your instructions. All right. So we're going to turn the page to page 6. And the first fabric on the list is actually fabric C2, and it's for D6 and E6. So we're going to be cutting for both of these somewhat at the same time, all right? But I'm going to see what I can set aside rather than you guys watching me cut everything. So as I read down through here, it told me, because we gave you should have had a large piece. I think it was 147 inches. And out of that 147 inches, you have to cut 6 14-inch by 42-inch strips and 3 21-inch by 42-inch strips, okay? And then the 6 14-inch pieces are going to pair up with your D templates, and the 21-inch strips are going to pair up with your E templates. So I'm going to just put this over with the E stuff, and we'll work with this group right here, all right? And what it tells me is I need to find the unit D61 template, and so that is this piece right here. And these pieces, so this is the correct one, unit D61, and then it says it's for D63, D65, D67. So those are the different units that it goes to. And it's going to go with these strips right here. So let's just stack these and go through our stack. This one, let's go ahead and put these templates with it, which this is my E group. And so these are going to go with this. Okay. Now I'm gonna skip down through the cutting on that part, and we're going to go to fabric C3A. And this is my C3A. And the C3A goes, I have to cut pieces out of this for both the D and the E group. And so it says to stack 3 6-inch strips. So I have to cut 5 6-inch strips. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's cut our 5 6-inch strips. And 5 6-inch strips. So here's 6 inches. And then here's 6 inches. And here is 6 inches. And then we have 18, and then we need to go 6 inches is 24. And then that leaves me 6 inches. So it tells me that I want to put 3 of these 6-inch strips, and these go with my templates. And it says it goes with template fabric. C3A goes with template layout sheet number 5 and template layout sheet number 7. So this is a 5. And this one is template layout sheet number 7. Okay. And then these pieces, and I have 2 template layout sheets. These go with the E, and so, no, actually these do not. Or do they? Fabric C2, yes, they do. These go with the E unit. So we're going to get in here, and we're going to find those same 2 layout sheets. So this is 5, and then this one is 7. Okay. Now, one of the things I want to bring to your attention is you're supposed to also have this cut out of the other color. So we're going to take these, take that second piece off, because that'll go on the next color. So I'm going to clip these on. And you guys are going to have to do some real close reading as you go through this, because you won't remember it by just what me telling you to do. So you need to follow your instructions. I went through this last night, so I kind of have an idea what I'm doing. I have 2 templates here, and I know that we have to cut some more strips from another color. And so these templates, I should have a 5 and a 7 on these, and I didn't pick up the 5. So that's my 8. Here's my 5. All right, so that matches. So that's going here, and this one's gonna go over with my E group. Okay. So we're going to skip over here to make sure we're getting all of our fabrics. So I just did fabric C3A. Now we're going to fabric C3B. And that's actually this color right here. And it tells me for fabric C3B that I have to cut It must have told me up here I had to cut from both colors. It did. So this one has to be cut just like the other one. So on this color, cut 5. I have to cut 4 6-inch. So on this one I only need 4. And so we're going to go 6. And then we're going to go 6. 6. And this one comes out at 6. And when I follow through there, so it tells me to stack 3 6-inch strips, and then I have 1 6-inch strip that goes with the E group. Okay, and the template layout sheet is 5 and 7 again. So that's where my other 5 and 7 are used. So this is 5 and 7 right here.
Someone asked, did you starch the fabric?
No. No, I very seldom do starch the fabric. Some people like to do that, and it doesn't hurt it. I'm just lazy when it comes to that extra work. And there again, it's also going to depend on the type of fabric you're using. Okay, so when I'm sorting like this, you'll notice that nothing's really been pressed, because I'm not really in a pressing mode right now. I'm just trying to get everything sorted. But when you do get ready to start cutting, making sure your fabric is pressed is a good idea. So these pieces right here are template 7 and template layout sheet number 5 onto this one, and that's my E group. So I'm going to set that over here, and these are going to go over here. Okay, so now we start and we get into fabric C4A, which is right here, and it tells me I want template layout sheet number 1 and template layout sheet. So right now we're looking at template layout sheet number 1. It says to cut 3. Before we put those on, let's get our strips cut. That makes more sense. So these strips are actually cut at 2 1/4 inches. So I'm just going to stack them all and cut 2 1/4 inches. Okay. So I should have a stack with 2 pieces and a stack with 3 pieces. And the 3 pieces go with unit D6 template layout sheet number right there. So because if you look at your picture down there, you're actually using template layout sheet number 1 and number 3. So we have template layout sheet number 2 here. So here's a 3 and here's a 1. And you have to cut both pieces with them. And then when I turn to this, okay, and so we have 2 template pieces here. So those are going to go onto there. Except that's my A group. And I went through and I wrote on my templates which ones are the A group and which ones are the B groups. So these 2 are my A group. And my B group goes just like this. Okay, so it tells me that I'm supposed to place one of these with my E's, because I'm reading everything and I'm like, I'm missing something because I have an E group that I gotta find. So this is supposed to be with my E fabric. So I should have 2 strips and 1 strip. And then it says stack 2, the other 2 are stacked. And I think these all go with this. As you guys can tell, there's a lot of reading in this. 2 1 1/4 inch. Let's see, and so I have, and 3 1 1/4 inch. So I have the right number of strips. Fabric C4A, place 2 strips with the unit D6 templates, and that's what I have. And 1 strip with the E templates. So let's go grab our E template over here. And I should have, this is an E1, and then there should be, that's 2, and because it said I was supposed to have template layout sheet number 3, 4, and 3. So these 2 go here. And these go here. So basically you end up with 2 strips of these and 2 strips here, and probably over here I only need 1 strip for all of them rather than the 2. Okay, so then we're going to go over here to fabric C4B. Oh, that's where my issue is. I cut those fabrics together, you guys. So these go here. There we go. And this is my C4B. And C4B, 1 strip. So on this one's kind of a tricky one when you're looking at it, because we really didn't need a whole bunch. And these go with template layout sheet number 1 and 3 again, and that's where those other template layout sheets go. Okay. And then it also says that I'm supposed to take that second set of template layout sheets from this group. So I have to have an E1 on there as well.
One thing that might help make more sense on that too is that you can do those in 2 different colorways. And
then you don't get messed up.
Yeah, then it doesn't matter. But we happen to use the same fabric for both pieces, so that's why it's taken a little bit of extra sorting. But someone said, will we be able to revisit this live? Yes, we will. Save the video out on both our YouTube channel and on our Facebook Live page. So if you go to the videos on our Facebook page, you'll always be able to zoom down and find them. But it's really nice on our YouTube channel because we have them all organized by playlist. So you'll be able to click on playlist and then go to Pocket Full of Posies, and we'll just have the succession of all of these videos show up right in that playlist, and you can refer back to it anytime you want.
Okay. So now that we have this figured out because of all of the same fabrics, basically I'm going to have 2 strips here with my A group on it. And then I'm going to have 2 strips here with my C4B group on it, now that we have it. And then I'm going to have 1 group here that's going to have both the A and the B groups on it, and that's for the E group. Okay, so this I'm going to cut together. This is my A group, this is my B group, and this is my E group, which is only 1 strip of fabric for that. Okay, so now I can put these back in place, and so that's probably going to happen when we get into the next group as well.
So one of our class attendees said, "That's awesome. I'm trying to keep up." Yeah, you're not gonna, there's a lot of information here.
You're not going to keep up because it's just there's so much reading. You really have to read every sentence step by step. And I have an idea what I'm doing, but what I'm trying to get through to you guys is that you have to read. And you have to make sure that when you're reading that it's doing exactly so that when we're done and we're ready to start cutting, we have everything paired properly. And so it just takes a little bit of work. Once we get to the cutting part of it, from there it's easy going. Okay, and that's why we decided to do a whole class that was kind of based around the cutting. So we're getting close on this, right?
And also, what is this saying that sometimes you have to see things 3 times before it starts to sink in? So yeah, I mean, go back and watch this 3 times and read it, and by the time you're done, you'll be like, okay, I got this. So.
And the other thing you have to think about too is when you're cutting, you're not going to be, you want to go through the sorting and then come back and go through the cutting. And you're going to know if you make a mistake because you might have some extra pieces when you actually start doing your counting. And if you know you made a mistake, you can always go over, and what's left over is probably going to end up over in the E group. One way or the other, it all comes out in the end. Okay? So, but it does take a lot of extra reading and double checking to make sure that you're getting those pieces with the right template pieces. And that's why I found that by going through and getting all of my little samples on here, I'm assured that I'm getting it to the right fabric. And then in the end, I'm going to have all of my pieces cut, and it'll give me a number. So it's going to say I have to have 20 of this stack, 20 in this stack, 20 in this stack, okay? And so it does follow through when you're doing it by yourself, and we're trying to get them separated so you guys don't have to watch me cut for 4 hours trying to get this done. All right, so this is actually my next fabric is I'm gonna move to fabric C5A, and so this is going to be pretty easy now for C5A. I'm gonna do my strip cutting. The first thing it's going to tell me is cut 5 6-inch strips. So we're going to cut our 5 6-inch strips. And I think you're going to cutting on your strips and sorting the strips at the same time, rather than cutting a bunch of strips and then trying to figure out what goes where on this. So there's 6. And then we have 6 is 24. And then we have 30. And if your brain gets tired of cutting and reading, just stop and pick it up another day. All right, so now it's going to tell me to split these, and I want stack 3 6-inch strips. So 1 2 3. I'm pretty sure that I do these just like I did the other ones. And then I'm going to have, if I follow that back down, in 2. So this is my E group, this is my D group. And so I'm going to grab this template, and this template, and these are 8 and 6. And they both go on to this. And then we're going to come over to this, there's E pile, and we're going to grab that template and this template. Now that was easy because I have the little swatches on those templates. And I understand now what we're doing here, so that goes there.
So there was a comment that said, have we ever considered doing something like putting circles, squares, etc. around the section numbers to highlight the different parts when things are the same? So in other words, we have an E block and we have a D block. We haven't done that, mostly because the more things we try and do to differentiate between things, the more likely it is to make a mistake on it. So we try and keep some things. So basically D and E. So you're going to have to look for the letter D or the letter E. But if we also then put a circle around all of the D's and then put a square around all of the E's, that could potentially lead us to make a mistake. Now,
and then we would have to remember it for the next pattern.
Yeah, and that's
and
not
what do we do for A, B, and C?
Right.
So
now that's not to say
that you can't.
You shouldn't think of some of those sorts of things to help you. But, you know, we really try hard not to duplicate information in a lot of locations, and that's already challenging enough because we have an instruction booklet and we have newsprint.
And then everybody has the ability to change out the colors.
Right.
So on this piece, this is our C5B, and this one requires 4 6-inch strips. So we're going to cut the 4 6-inch strips.
And also, I should also mention that's why we do put the little swatches on a lot of those fabrics as well. Is, you know, we do some manual things ourselves to the papers to just remember. But it's not a terrible idea if visually a square and a circle might help you, then that might be a really good idea or a way to, you know, a little trick that helps you stay organized on a pattern like this, where the D blocks and the E blocks have a lot of the same little pieces.
Okay, so this one's telling me that I have to have 3 strips for my A color group, or the D blocks, not the color group. And then I only need 1 strip for my D, or my E ones. So this is, these are my E fabrics. Yep, these are E's. Okay. And now we're back to those little tiny pieces again. And that's this one. So I'm not going to cut them together this time. I'm going to just cut like it tells me to.
We're on fabric.
We're on fabric C6A, and it says to cut 4 2 1/4 inch strips.
Okay, so someone asked a question, is there a typo in step 2?
Step 2 of which one?
Let's see, she says in step 2, is there a typo? Says D versus E.
Oh, yes, there was. And I actually, somewhere there was. Because I have one of the wrong. It's actually on page 7 at the top. No, it's not that one. There's another one. That one wasn't a typo. Have her tell you where it's at. There might be. So these are 4 2 1/4. There's 1 2 1/4. Okay, so there's 4 2 1/4. There we go. And then it's going to tell me to put template D4. There's my 4 and my 8. So I should have template layout sheet number 2. And template layout sheet number 6. Template layout sheet number 2. Oh no, template layout sheet number 4. That's right. And those go with the first group. And then these 2 strips go with the B's. So that would have been a lot less confusing if I hadn't cut all of that extra fabric last time. That was easy. So I have 2 strips with my A colors and 2 strips with my B colors. And that goes with my D group. Now let's see what it tells us to do with this one. fabric C6B. This says here, cut 4, stack 2, and stack 2. Okay, so I did that wrong. It says here to stack 2, and you put template D2 and D4 on there, which I have. And then for the E group, so one of these, so actually this is the way this goes, like this. So these go here, and then this stack here goes with my E group. And I need one template with each one of them. That's my A template, and there we go. And on this, we need one template with each one of them, and which would be my A template. It's just reading one more sentence further and you get there. All right, so now we're on our very last fabric, and this is C6B. And so I have my B templates left over from both my pieces. And this says cut 3, 2 1/4 inch strips.
Okay, I found it. Let's see.
Which page was it on?
I think it's on page 8, step 2 for fabric C4B.
What is the mistake? Template 1 and template 3. It
says D6-2 TLS number 1, D6-6 TLS number 3, and then it says for each additional cut, and then it says unit E6-2 TLS 1 and 3 are used to cut 2 fabric pieces. Oh no, because you're cutting those off of the same piece.
Those are one of the ones.
So that's correct. So that's the only place I can see an E in step 2. So I think that is correct. So you're cutting both your D's and your E's off of the same strip for fabric C4B. So just watch that. That's the only place I can see where we have, so there's no mistake on that. But
there's a couple places where that happens.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a mistake there.
So then this one, I have to put those are the D group, and then the E group. This is both of these. So both of the D group templates for the B go on 2 strips, and then the E group only goes on to the 1 strip. But yeah, there is one of those strips that's actually we're cutting from both pieces.
You share it.
And when you get into your cutting, just kind of pay attention to that. And I think there's 2 places where that happens. There's the one on that page, and no, actually on the next page it does not. It was just that page is the only one where we shared the fabric. Okay, so let's do a checklist here. There should be fabric 10. T-template layout sheet number 10. What did I do with that fabric? I know I cut it someplace. It'll show up. So see, I still have some pieces here, and I got to figure out what I did with those pieces. All right, so let's do a checklist here. To make these units, I have my background here, and so you should have 6 14-inch strips with that template, and then we should have 2 colors. These are my A colors, and they have 2 templates on them. And then we should have 2 colors here, and they have 2 templates on it. Those are the B colors. And I'm just going to show you how this works. So see, this is my other A, so now I have my 4 pieces. So these 2 are actually grouped together, and these 2 are grouped together. So I have a blue group and I have the orange group. And then I have all of these. And one of these stacks has some E templates on it. So I'm just going to go through and we're going to cut and count, and then what's left over, then we'll throw it into over here with the E group. All right, so that is correct. And then we're going to come over to this. And these pieces, this is for the E group. And we have our orange fabrics here. We have the blue fabrics here. So I have my 2 groupings there. And then these are all of the little tiny strips. And one of these templates in all of this stuff will have to go into another bag. So now you have these pieces left over, okay? But if you go back and you read your instructions on, let's go back to page 6, and under fabric C2, if you look at the way the graphic is, your big templates, which is this piece right here, is supposed to have one of these templates on it, okay? So if you look at the side, these get cut out of what's left over on the side. So we're going to put this right here. That's my D group right here. And then on this one goes with the E group. Okay, and so these are all my E's, and these are E's. So I have 2 groups of E's here, yeah, because this is I have my color group here, my color group here. And so as we start cutting all of these apart, then we'll slip them into these bags. All right. And I'm going to take the E group and move it out of the way. And we're going to take that template, move it out of the way. Are you guys following me? Okay, now we start just doing the cutting, and we're gonna start with the piece that's on the very bottom. So I'm gonna flip all of these basically like this now. Put these back in the order. And I'm supposed to have some of these little templates, these little pieces, we'll just set like that for now. So now we're going to take this, and I want to show you guys how I set up my layout sheets. And so all of these fabrics, we have 6 strips here. We have to open them up, and we're going to stack them all right side up. And if you're working with anything that has a direction, try to keep the directions going the same. And this is where your starch pen or an iron comes in handy. Because I can just come down here and put a little bit of that starch on that fold, and then that lays flat for me. Now take the next one. I just love those pins for that, because I can get all these stacked and they lay down just perfectly flat. For years, I used to avoid using anything that was on the fold because I didn't like pressing. But this seemed to solve that problem. All right, so we're going to take this and take this one. Okay. And then I have 4 templates here. I'm going to go ahead and cut my salvage off. I'm just going to check to make sure. Good. This is my repositionable glue. And I'm going to look at my picture. The first one goes up in this corner. And then this one's going to go like this. And because this is one of those pieces where I have to make sure that there's room for all the templates, I'm not going to cut until I get all of my templates laid in place. And then those pieces go there. Move that up just a little bit. Move this one up just a little bit. And then these pieces go right here. So I'm going to actually take and cut this before I add that now. And then I'm going to take this, and I need 2 sets there, so I'm just going to take and cut it like this, and then stack those. And I have to do a demonstration on those in just a little bit. So now I'm going to take these, and we're going to cut. And we're going to stack it like this. And I'm going to, well, let's just get them both cut, and then we'll layer them. So right now I have 2, 4, 6, 12 pieces in each pile. And let's read our instructions and let's see what it tells us we have to have. Stack the 6-inch by 14-inch strips. Cut 24 pieces matching the size and shape of template layout sheet number 9. And 12 pieces matching the size of template layout sheet number 10. And that was T template. Okay. So we have, these are set up, and that's template layout sheet number 9. So we have our 24 pieces, but I think, no, these, that's right. So we have to do 24 of each one of those color groups. That's what we want to find out before I cut. At the top of page 6, okay, here's my important information. Clip each section template to the fabric and place 12 each unit D6 section template into each bag D1 and bag D2. So it tells me that I have to have an even number of pieces. So I'm just going to get rid of this template layout sheet because I don't need it. And I'm going to stack all 12 layers together here. And we're going to put a paper clip on each one of them. Okay. And then I'm going to pull this template layout sheet off, and we'll just put this stack underneath. We're going to put a paper clip on each one of these. So I have to make 12 of each color group. And I'm just going to double check again on that. We don't need these. And I'm going to go back to, there's a little cheat thing for me. And I'm working with the D groups. And on the very back page, I'm looking at those pictures, but maybe that's on the front page. Oh, here it is on page 5 at the very top. It says color layout. And it tells me that I need 12D color group A and color group B. Right? And I need 12 and I need 12. So, all right, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab my pencil here and I'm going to mark on this CGB. And I'm going to put these into my bee bag. Because I'm not going to cut them up until I'm ready to actually do the paper piecing on it. And this is going to be CGA. And that's going to go into the A bag. Okay. Now, these pieces right here go into bag, that template bag number 7. And I actually have one that's labeled. That's template bag E6. Maybe it's template bag E6. Thought I had one for it. I must have, this must be it, because I only have one template bag. Oh, that's E. So there's got to be another bag around here. I'll have to find it. But I know that goes in. There it is. Template bag. I'll find it, because I know I have it. Okay, so we're going to continue, and I'm going to cut this fabric next. And this is my fabric CG3, which is right here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to read our instructions. And it looks like we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's open this up. And there were supposed to be 3 of those. I'm going to put a little bit of starch on it. And then I'm going to look at the picture, and it tells me to start with template layout sheet number 5 right down here in the corner. So let's get rid of our salvage here. Put our repositionable glue there. And then this piece goes here. Now it tells me, and I'm going to put a paper clip on this just to kind of hold those templates in place. And I have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of those. And then this one. And that one. And this one. Okay, so that gives me 4 groups, which will give me 12 pieces, because there's 12 layers there, and these go into my A bag. I'm just going to throw that back into the A bag too. That's enough for a mistake if I make it. And then we're going to grab this one, and this is my B fabric. And we're going to do the same thing with this. So my 5 goes down in the lower corner, like this. And number 7, template layout sheet number 7 goes there. I forgot to iron my pieces, so I'm going to trim from this side and go like this. I did that because I forgot to take care of that fold, so we'll just take that, and this one goes in my color group 2 bag, or color group B, which is right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take these pieces and I'm going to move and change pages and go over, because this was my C5A, and I'm going to read the instructions on C5A. There's 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to cheat a little bit right now just to speed things up here. Since I know that these are the same templates and I have 3 of these, I'm going to go ahead and put these on here. And these are my B fabrics, and I can cut my rectangles at the same time. Okay, I'm going to roll this around like this, because these are not the same. And this one tells me to start with D6 at the bottom. That's a D6 right there. So I'm going to grab the blue one. And then I'm going to grab the D8 template layout sheet. And then we're cut a rectangle. And then I'm gonna just take the blue and put it on the top. Cut a rectangle. Keep the blue on the top. This over here. And I'm gonna have to press this, you guys. I love my pins. So how many of you are going to go buy one of these today? Then we're going to take our stack. I'm going to cut again. We'll pull the orange off the bottom.
Lots of your local quilt shops will carry those acorn products as well, especially if they're certified shops for Quiltworx, because they know that Judy uses it in so many projects, and the instructors have gotten used to it. So,
and if you can't find them, we have them online. All right, so we're gonna take the orange pieces, and that's my 6, and this is number 8.
I did notice there is a small typo on page, let's see, whatever page this is.
This is page, I'm on
where it says
8 and 9.
C5B, I think it's page 8. Fabric C5B and step 1. It says fabric C3B, that should say C5B. So I'll correct that in the once we're done with this so that we have it marked.
Okay, so this is my A group. And these are my B groups. And now we're going to start with all of these little pieces. And this is my C4B, and this is C6A, and this one is C6B, and this is a B. Okay, so we're going to work our way through these pieces and see if we have the right number that we need.
I don't know if you need to know what time it is, Mom, but it's 3:40.
Okay.
Just so you have an idea.
Okay. Well, we might end up having to go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I will, because we need to go over a little bit of applique, but let's just go ahead and finish up this cutting, and then we'll be done with all of the cutting segments. We're not going to do the E group, so this is C4A. That is my, and this is C4B. This is C4A right here, and there's 2 strips, which is here. And when I look at it, I have cut 6 fabric pieces matching the size of each template layout sheet. So just to speed that up, I'm going to put these other pieces underneath it, and then we can cut 4 at a time. No, that's not going to work, you guys. Better not do that, because those are different size templates. So there's 2, 4, and 6. And the reason I only have to cut 6 is because then I come back and I slice it in 2 pieces, and that gives me 12. Okay, and then we're going to take this one, we're going to go 2, I'm going to start down here, 4, and 6. So this will give me 12, and these are A group, so these go in my A bag. Okay, now I still have some of this, so I'm just going to take it and finish using up the strip. And this one is C6A. So I'm sure I'm going to have 3 cuts off of this. So that gives me 1, and this will give me 2. and this will give me 3. And again, that gives me 6 pieces, and then I slice it in half, that gives me 12, and that's an A group. And then we come over here, and here's another A group. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So that goes in the A pile. And now we're going to just start down these pieces, which are going to be the same thing. We're going to have those, basically we have to have 12 pieces of each one. And since I'm using the same fabric, I'm just going to keep using up this fabric. There's 1, 2, and 3. And this is a B group. Did I end up with it? Yeah, I do. Okay. And this one doesn't fit on there, so we're going to take this. Let's take this template. 1, 2, and 3. So remember, I'm doing 2 cuts at a time, so that's 6 layers. So this will give me 12. Then we're going to take this. Actually, we'll just take this. 1, 2, 3. And that's a B group. Now we have 1 template left. And so I'm going to take I'm just going to go, because I don't need both strips. So there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so remember in that cutting where there was a place where you had to have some of the E groups and stuff? Well, I put the E templates back in that other bag apparently. So all of those were B's, so I'm just going to take this extra fabric and we're going to slip it into the E groups. Make sure we come up with the right number of pieces when we start cutting there, okay? So the cool thing about what we did here, and I actually do this with all of my quilts when I actually cut stuff out, is I have everything I need in this bag to make all of these units. And I'm just going to close it up, and when I'm ready to pull this stuff out and start assembling it, then I'll just open up the bag and I'll finish cutting all of the template layout down to the size they're supposed to be. And it's the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and add these scraps back into this bag. And we're going to add these scraps back into this bag. And then I'm going to leave you guys to go through and do the same cutting for the E group now that we have the fabric separated. Okay, so one of the differences between what I was doing and what you guys might want to consider, it depends on where your brain is you can complete all of the cutting for each group all the way through and then put all the pieces in that bag if you want. Or you can go through and pair everything up to the templates and then come back and just set the layout sheets into the bag. I like storing it this way than having a stack of templates that are this high to start the paper piecing with, all right? But that's basically the instructions for the cutting for the day. Now, we're supposed to go through some applique instructions. That's the next thing on our list. I still have in my bag, missing bag. So let's talk a little bit about the applique. Let's find the right pages here. I'm going to move these out of here now and put them at the back. So inside here I still have a bunch of papers, and these are assembly graphic papers, and I don't want to lose them, so I'm just going to keep them here. In my book. And let's just sort through what we have for applique. So I made my bags for my applique, so I should have groups. I have a group A, a group B, and so let's read this a little bit better. Group A center, okay? So the center group are everything that from here up to here, around, and here. So these pieces here are what we call the center group, okay? So I'm going to have a bag that goes just for those. And then I'm going to have a bag for the left side and the right side of these borders, not counting the corner. So it will go from here up to there without counting the corner block. And then I'm going to have a bag for my corner, okay? So we have 4 bags here. And this is my corner. All right, so we're going to turn to page, applique starts on page 13. All right, there is a little correction, Judelle, I didn't tell you about, but if you read through right here, this very first sheet, it says Vine Group 3. That's supposed to be Vine Group C. Okay, so we need to just change the 3 to a C. And those are the papers that we have. And so if you look at each one, they're all for Vine Group B, 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 and then there's a center and a border. So I find that it was easier just to look at the page and pair it up. And this is for Vine Group A, okay? And so I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in this group, because when I start cutting out all of my pieces, I don't want to get these pieces mixed up with anything else. So that's going to have its own bag, and we'll put the fabric and all of the pieces as we cut in there. This one is Vine. And there's different amounts of sheets with each one of these. That last one you had 4 sheets. One I have 2 sheets, and it doubles. So basically when I look at my bags, it's going to tell me I have to make 4, but I have templates here and templates here for the different groups. So this one is this piece, and it's going to go in this bag. And then we have these pieces right here. I should have one sheet of this, and I have one sheet of this one. So at this point, these aren't going to be separated. So I'm just going to put all these together because these are for my borders. And then they'll get separated into 2 bags in a little bit. All right. Because half of the pieces go on this side and half of them go into this bag, right? This one is all corner group, and so these pieces can go into the corner. All right, so I'm going to make this easier. Basically, this is just some general information on the front, and then it talks about how to cut out the flowers, and these are all things I'm going to go through when we do the applique demo. And we're going to pre-record that applique demo, and it will probably be a 4-hour video by the time I get through all of the parts. We might have to split it up and do segments throughout the month to get all of that set up for you guys. So if you read page 13 and 14, it's just general information. When you get to page 15, there's a fabric chart here, and it shows you how to lay all of the pieces out on all of the strips that you're going to cut. All right. Now, if you bought a fabric kit, they may have already cut out all of those strips, and I have a package here of all of those. What did I do with my, it must be in my bag. So you should have a package for applique, or a stack of applique, and I put it all in one bag. And so right now, all of these pieces, there's some C groups in there for the center, there's D, but all of my applique fabric is in one bag. I did not cut it into strips yet, right? This is going to tell you to cut it into strips. But if you received a kit, you may already have it all cut into strips, or it may be all just as one piece. So if I look at this, I only have to cut 1 strip out of this one. I need 1 strip out of this one. This piece requires me to cut, I need 2 pieces out of this one. And this is all of my leftover yardage, so I just took and put my applique pieces onto here, and I will come back and cut these strips, or I may just choose to put my template pieces on there and save the yardage. This one, it calls for 1 2.5-inch strip for each one of these. So if I look 1, 2, 3 2.5-inch strips, but if I actually go to my instructions and I look at the pictures, I might only need 2 circles from this one, and 2 circles from this strip, and 2 circles from that strip. So the reason I kept all my fabric together is I want to see how it's going to lay out. And if I have a whole bunch of fabric left over, I'm going to avoid cutting it until I actually, and just throw it back in the bag and use it later on, all right? But it tells me where these fabrics are going to be used. This one is used in the C group, which would be the center, and it's also used in all of the border groups, okay? So I'd probably cut all my center strips first, and then I wouldn't cut anything from the border until I went out and started cutting those applique. This one requires C and C, so I can actually find those pieces and just put it on this fabric and probably save quite a bit of yardage on that. So that's the reason why I did this, is because sometimes it's easier to fit the pieces on a bigger strip, and you might have like 3/4 of a strip left over. But the only way Quiltster can figure out all of those colors is by having a strip of fabric. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 strips. So depending on how you colored this, somebody else could have come in and used 4 different colors on these strips. So we had to pair each one of these colors here up with its own cut strip. Even though I'm using only 1, I could have used 4 colors. So hopefully you guys will understand the way that's set up, because everybody doing where they're coloring their pieces the way they want, it can change the way all of these strips are set up on the applique. And so when you do your printout, it tells you when you print out where those colors are going to go, and then you need to match those printouts up with that. That will make a little more sense when I actually start doing the cutting on it. But all of these pieces, you know, some of them are big strips and I only need, you know, 2.5 inches from them. And it's because I didn't cut them down to the strip size that it told me to cut it down to with my leftover fabrics, all right? So, but I have it all organized, what I have to do with it. The other thing I want to do is when we go through the video, I'm going to actually take and I'm going to find all of the pieces that are like for CAP1, and I'm going to find that fabric, and I'm going to put them into the bag with this. And I'm going to figure out how much I need to put in there before I do any cutting out. And then I'll put them all on my fabric and I'll put them all back in the bag. So I would go through and find everything I needed for this bag, and then I would come back, get it cut out, and all the leftover fabric, I can put it back in my stash again. So we basically work through each one of these bags, one bag at a time. I don't just try to cut up a whole bunch of strips and then figure out which bags they go through. So when I do that video, that's just watch the way we set up the bags. It really is very simple, and when you're done, it's very much like our paper piecing, where everything I need for these bags, I'm going to have the fabric in there. Everything I need for these bags, I'll have the fabric. Everything I need for these bags, I'll have the fabric. And I don't have to get out all of the pieces mixed up. If you turn to page 16, I do want to make one comment here. Even if you're working with Vanessa's technique, you still have to go through all of this sorting process with your fabrics. And that's why I want to do a video with all of the sorting, because you're going to have to sort with her stuff as well before you start with all of the applique process, okay? On page 16, right at the top, there's a picture there and it shows you what those groups are, okay? So basically my center group right here, there's a box there with a square. That's what this group is going to make. And then when you get into the veins or the border groups, you're going to have the left side grouping and the right side grouping. And that's what these two bags are for. And as you start putting the pieces together, it'll show you which ones are left and which ones are right. And then this is for all of my corner stuff, all right? When we get into the queen size, it's set up the same way to where you can actually see what fabrics go into each one of these, all right? So then if you go down underneath those pictures, I gave you a larger printout of each one of these sheets. So if we look at the first one, it actually shows you, I can pair this up and I can figure out, well, this fabric, I'm supposed to have an AP4 fabric with it. And this one, I'm supposed to have an AP2 fabric with it. And this one's AP3. Okay, so as I go through and I find these fabrics, I can actually put these template pieces right onto that fabric at that time. And it also tells you down here what the stems are, like stem A1, stem A2. So we basically categorized not only the template pieces with a number, but the fabric a number. So you want to pay attention to whether it's a fabric number or a template number. But we've given you, those layouts are really nice layouts. I wish I had had them before I had to put my first quilt together. It would have been nice. So each one of the papers, the groupings, have the instructions for that in there for your applique, okay? And like I said, whether or not you're doing my method or you're doing Vanessa's technique, you are going to have to go through this sorting process. And so you'll want to watch that video, and we'll try to get those videos out to you before the next class. All right. On the back, on page 18, that's where it's going to talk about Vanessa's process, okay? So I do machine applique. I do all of the machine right here. It's called Invisible Machine Applique. And I was taught how to do machine applique from Harriet Hargrave's books and techniques and classes that she had offered up in Kalispell. And so it's an awesome technique for invisible applique, and the threads that we use for that I use silk threads, and you can either use, there's really not a brand out there I don't like. I've used the YLI, I've used the Superior silk threads, I've used the Wonderfil silk threads or poly threads. So you need to pick your threads according to what you like to work with. And I like to match my threads to the colors that I'm appliquing on. And if it's a multicolor, then I'm just going to find something that matches really well with a group of a whole bunch of colors, where we have multiple colors in some of the flowers and some of the greens. I just found a color that looked really close to it, and that's the way I pick it. I'm not going to tell you which threads to use, because the silk, when you're working with the polyesters, the real thin, which is your Wonderfil, or your silk threads, they're all 100-weight fabrics, okay? I've seen a lot of people do applique with the 80-weight fabrics, and it looks just as good. It just depends on the type of fabric you're working with. If you're working with cottons, huh?
Thread. You keep saying fabric. Use 100-weight thread.
Thread. My color thread. 80-weight threads. You're right. I keep saying fabric. Sorry, you guys. I like to match with the fabric. If your fabric is a cotton fabric, then you can also use your Orifil thread, or you can use So-Fine, because those are a little bit heavier weight fabrics, but they'll bury into those cotton fabrics, and that works really well as also. I don't really like using the real thin fabric thread, like the polyester Wonderfeel when I'm working with a heavier cotton, because it buries into the fabric, and if I have to pick it out, I can't even see to pick it out. It is so invisible. So if you're really good and you don't make mistakes, then that's a great way to never see anything, because you won't see it if you bury it into a cotton fabric, okay? So the best thing to do is just to test it and work with some of the different types of threads and test it to see what kind of look you want for your invisible, okay? On page 19, we did tell you earlier that that's where all of those extra templates can be used, okay? And on page 20, there is your layout for the center. And the reason you only have the layout for the center is because the border is a different pattern. And so this will only show you how to lay out the center group, all right? So I think as far as machine applique, you guys will get, once you watch the videos that I'm going to put out and the videos that Vanessa puts out, then you'll be able to decide which way you want to do it. If you have a machine that does the machine embroidery applique process, you're probably going to use Vanessa's video. And Judel's going to show you some pictures of them. Oh, I'm going to show you.
Just lay it on the table.
So this is Vanessa's. So the other thing about Vanessa's technique that you might like is all of the stems and all the little teeny circles are done with just embroidery thread. So the only template pieces you are going to use are the great big stems, the leaves, and the flowers.
Hold on a sec. Let me switch views for them.
She wants to do some switching. There we go.
Now you can see it better.
Okay. So I'm going to explain the difference again. If you use Vanessa's technique, this stem, this stem, this stem, and this little circle, all the little stems are done embroidery only. So you don't have to do put the fabric onto the template pieces. The big stems, we use the fabric. The leaves, we use the fabric. And the flowers, so here's a flower, then we use the fabric, okay? But here again, this small stem is all embroidery, 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 embroidery for the circles. And so there's a lot less prep work if you're working with Vanessa's technique, all right? And you don't have as many pieces because your machine is going to do it for you. And it looks really, really nice. So that's something to take to think about as well, is if you want to learn how to do this, work with that video that she has and do it that way, because it does really cut down the number of pieces that you're going to do the turn under on. So this is a corner unit here. This piece, this is what we'd call the center unit. So we have three more pieces that go on here. And you actually put them on the hoop this way. So this is all sewn together and then hooped. This is your block that's sewn together, and then you put this on your hoop. This, hand me that border piece.
This?
Yeah. Hand me the other one too.
Oh.
So these two pieces are the left and right border units. We put the applique, she will put the applique on this piece, and then it'll go on the hoop. The applique will go on this piece, and it goes on the hoop. Okay? So you guys will actually have your quilt blocks all sewn basically together to what I'm showing you before you start applique. If you're doing my technique, we actually do it the same way. As far as, we don't assemble the whole center and then try to do the applique. We're going to keep the block groups the same. You just don't get to cheat and do all your embroidery stems if you're doing my technique. You have to cut all of these and do fold under applique. This is the basket piece, okay? And you can see we have fabrics with our flowers. This centerpiece is all embroidery. Our leaves are fabric. The stems are all embroidery on this one. You have all embroidered stems here except the great big one that goes like that. And fabric behind these pieces.
And she tells you also in her video, and it's kind of hard to see there, but she uses satin stitch on all of the stems and leaves, but she does actually use some
decorative
stitching and fill type stitches on the flowers. So
and she actually has some decorative stitches around the top of the tulip too.
I wonder if we bring
and the flower stitches are a decorative stitch. If she's going to see if you can see it.
I'm going to switch views here and see if I can show it to you a little bit more closely. Oop, I don't want to step on the dog because he's hiding under there. Okay, so you can see on the flowers there's some nice decorative stitching, and then there's the satin stitch.
And lift it a little bit more so they can see the center flower, and that one's,
I gotta go opposite of what I'm thinking I'm going. So anyway, that just kind of gives you a closer look at what the stitching looks like.
Okay, so I think at this point the video for today is pretty much done. We just have to you guys have to make the decision, but you're going to be able to watch those videos before you get to this point and decide. So we'll get our part of the videos done in the next couple weeks.
And Vanessa's will post tonight at about 6 p.m.
Yeah, so they're going to post Vanessa's tonight, and mine will come out in probably 2 or 3 couple-hour segments, because I think I'll probably do it as parts as we go. And then you guys will be able to watch those. The next class that we're doing is it the 29th of November. Okay, for those that are going to watch live. And again, it'll start at 1 p.m. And that class we're going to be doing paper piecing and some curve piecing. And I was going to show you how to do the T templates today, but I hold off and do that at the first thing of that next class. So because you don't need your T templates until everything else is sewn together anyway. So let's wait and catch that up after we do the paper piecing and the curve piecing. I'm also going to go ahead and start doing some sewing on my quilt, but I'm going to just leave certain segments of it ready for me to do the paper piecing. So all we have to do is just sit down and I'll do a segment of paper piecing on the B group, and I'll do a segment of paper piecing on the D group. I won't do the E group because it's the same as the D, other than the size is different. And then we'll do the curve piecing on in that same workshop. All right? So that's what our next class is going to bring us. I think that that's going to cover what we have going today, other than I have a lot of video to do in the next couple weeks. So
and we are going to try and start them all you know, about 15 to 20 minutes early, and we'll show you some quilts in the like during that time, and we can answer questions that you might have from the earlier sessions. So yeah, just watch for that and maybe tune in with us a little bit early. If you didn't get patterns or you're still looking for that kind of thing, like I went over that earlier in this video, but go to our website, click on patterns, products, then patterns, then find Pocket Full of Posies, and you can purchase the pattern there, and also find a link to the marketplace in Quiltster to buy kits. And I think that's pretty much it.
Do we have a place where they can write and send us messages? Did you set up a form?
If you have, there's not, so if you have questions, I have a, so you can either post them in the event listed on Facebook, and I'm going to go out, that's where this played and everything, I'm going to go out and change the dates on this one to the next one so that it continues to log forward. I think that's going to work, and if it doesn't, then I'll have to set up a new event for our next class. But regardless of that, you can post questions there, or you can also just send them to Judelle at Quiltworx.com, or send them in Messenger. So if you have questions between now and then, you can send them to the Quiltworx Messenger page as well. And we'll help you guys out with questions. But I think it should work to post them right in the discussion board for the group.
I think it would work really good, because then if one person has a question and the other one has the same question, we can take care of all of it
and see it all at the same time. So I'm reluctant to set up a chat because those go out to everybody. You can't just decide who gets to join it or not. So but the discussion board should be a place where we can have that interaction. So anyway, I will look at that after we're done here. And as noted, these videos will all be posted for perpetuity here and on our YouTube channel. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see